Chapter 8. Cooking. Kerry wasn't sure where everything went, but helped by taking things from the bags and putting them on the counter. I picked them up and put them where they needed to go. The fruit bowl was empty, so it wasn't obvious, but after I put the apples and oranges into there, Kerry caught on and put the pears and bananas into. I got a new bowl out of the cupboard, which we put the grapes into a separate bowl so they didn't get squished. Although we got pies from the freezer, I put them in the fridge so they started to defrost. I also kept the yeast and the flour on the counter. I said, "We've got some friends coming over for dinner and games tonight. You're welcome to join in if you like." Kerry replied, "That'd be nice." I had quite a bit to do. Friends were coming over later tonight for a games night, and I appointed myself chef for the evening. I had to make biscuits, pizza, chili mix, and cook the other things. Kerry saw I was still in the kitchen and was curious what I was doing. I said, "I've got to put some ingredients into the bread maker to get the dough ready. It will take a while for it to complete the cycle." I got out the scale and the measuring glass. First I measured and put in the water, then I weighed and added the flour. I put some salt and sugar in, and lastly, pour open and added the sachet of yeast. Once everything was in, I started the machine. It would take over an hour, and I didn't have to do any more until it was complete. Next we started the chili. I got out the slow cooker, vegetable peeler, chopping board, and knife. Kerry could see what I was setting up and asked, "Can I help chop things up?" I said, "Yes, that'd be great. But I'll show you first." We both washed our hands thoroughly with soap before handling the food. I washed the capsicum and put it on the chopping board, slicing off a piece from the outside from top to bottom. Then I cut the piece into smaller bits, about the size of a thumbnail. I asked Kerry, "Can you slice the capsicums into pieces and chop them into smaller pieces and put them into the slow cooker?" Kerry nodded and started work. I got another knife and the peeler to work on the carrots. I cut the top and bottoms off, and then used the peeler to remove the outer layer, placing the sticks on a plate near the chopping board. Kerry looked over and I asked, "Can you chop the carrots into similar sized pieces and add them too?" Kerry nodded again and said, "Can I eat a few pieces while I do it?" I said, "Sure, we won't miss them. And I can peel another carrot if you want." Kerry said, "No, I just want a little bit." I got the onions out and used a knife to remove the outer layers. Kerry asked, "Do you want me to chop those too?" And I answered, "No, I'll put these into the blender." Once a few of them were peeled and chopped into quarters, I put them into the blender. I turned the blender on for a few seconds until they were finely chopped and added the onion to the slow cooker too. The chili was starting to take shape, and I added some more water and sachet mix and gave it a good stir. Everyone who was coming tonight likes the chili spicy, but I wasn't sure about Kerry. I got out the Tabasco and put it over the slow cooker and motioned putting some in. Kerry saw and said, "Not too much." So I opened the lid and put a few drops in. I wasn't sure if Kerry was a vegetarian, so I got some bacon out of the fridge and asked if it was okay if I could add some of that too. Kerry said, "Yes, please." And I said, "Okay, but we'll fry it first and add it later." With the pizza dough and chili underway, it was time to bake some choc chip biscuits. I also like to turn the oven on early, so it's at the right temperature and ready to cook once the mixture's made, and set it to 180 degrees Celsius. I got out the scales and a large mixing bowl from the cupboard, and some baking trays for them to be cooked on. From the fridge, I got the eggs and butter. From the pantry, I got sugar, choc chips, plain flour, and self-raising flour. The recipe was simple. Combine 2 eggs, 250 grams of sugar, 250 grams of butter, 250 grams of plain flour, 250 grams of self-raising flour, and chopped chips to suit taste. For me, that's usually the whole pack. Some people say you have to use a sifter for the flour, but I can't tell the difference and skip it. No one's complained yet. First, we crack the eggs and put them in the bowl. If any of them have gone off, we won't have to toss out the other ingredients. Next, we add the flour. Before adding the butter, I like to warm it a little on a plate in the microwave first. Just a few seconds on a low power setting to soften it makes stirring it in much easier. Lastly, the sugar and some of the chopped chips are mixed in. Once everything is mixed thoroughly, scoop some mixture out using a spoon and roll it into a ball. Try and make the scoops the same size and space them evenly so they cook consistently. Place the mixture onto a baking tray and press down on top of it with a fork. Repeat this for all the mixture. Finally, take some of the remaining chopped chips and add them to the top of the dough. Once everything is done, the oven should be up to temperature and cook them for 12 minutes before checking on them. Depending on whether you like soft or harder biscuits, they might be ready or need a few more minutes. Once they're done, it's best to take them out and put them on a cooling rack if you have one. But putting them on a plate and turning them a few times when they cool is okay too. The last thing I had to do as chef before dinner was to roll out the pizza dough into trays, sauce them, and add the toppings. We had several different types for tonight. Meat Lovers has got pepperoni, bacon, chicken, onion, and capsicum. Supreme has chicken, pepperoni, bacon, capsicum, onion, and mushrooms. Pepperoni is pepperoni and chili flakes. Vegetarian has capsicum, mushrooms, olives, onion, semi-dried tomato, and feta. When the rain coming down was getting colder, so I decided to turn on the heater before everyone arrived.